Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Career Simulation series with rookies in Madden 20. And today I decided to take a trip on down to my favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. Let's get this set up over here. I don't even care. It can be on all Madden for all I care. We are keeping everything else on. Injury off, pre-existing injury off. We'll put it on 15 minutes. It's probably not going to matter. I am not doing weekly training. I am not doing any moves whatsoever. Let's see. Yeah, that's about what that's going to be. Fill roster is going to be on. I'm going to put that on manual just because I don't want the computer making trades necessarily. Let's see. And we will leave it on Brian Flores. We're going to do preseason and we'll get into this thing and I will show you who we're going to use. Now, I did just realize that I'm a dummy because I said, well, I'll show you who we're going to use, but I can tell that you guys are smart and probably looked at the thumbnail and know that we're going to use Preston Williams for this video. So Preston Williams, we will start him in the slot for his first season. He's at least a starting receiver now, and we'll see what Preston Williams can do in year number 1. So in season 1, Miami goes 4-12, losing 8 games in a row. They started out 4-4. Look at the Buffalo Bills at 11-5. Gosh, I would really be rooting for that to happen in real life. Please, somebody knock the Patriots out. Preston Williams, rookie season, 53 catches, 620 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Not a bad season at all for him. Coming out of the slot, Wilson and Stills just ahead of him, but not too much more ahead of him. And Dwayne Allen, he was pretty much right up there with the best players that Miami has to offer in the receiving game. Unfortunately, even with starting, he wasn't able to get himself on the Offensive Rookie of the Year list, but the fullback, Chandler Cox, does. Go figure. As you can tell from the news at the bottom right there, the Cleveland Browns win the Super Bowl over the Dallas Cowboys 28-14. Quite a prediction there, Madden. Think you're on the Browns a little bit too much. Season 2, it's the Dolphins in the basement at 5-11, losing a couple of games in a row, giving up way too many points, not even scoring 300 points. Patriots get back on top in the division with the Jets making the playoffs. Ho Bizzle's gonna like that one. Receiving-wise, Kenny Stills leads the way. Tyler Higbee was there as well. And there's Preston Williams from the slot with a 723 and 4 touchdowns. Very good stuff from Preston Williams in his second season. Hopefully enough development happens to the point where he can maybe move to like 2. We'll see. As you can tell from this news page, it was a Browns-Panthers Super Bowl, and the Browns win their second in a row. Congratulations, City of Cleveland. All right, going into the third season, Preston Williams now up to a 68 overall. Needs more production than that. Odd year for the Dolphins as they climb out of the basement going 8-8. They win their last 3 games, but they still didn't score 300 points. I don't know what's going on there, but the Bills at 13-3, scoring 451 points, and this has to be a great sight to see for AFC East fans. Patriots 3-13, gotta love it. Worst team in the league, though they should have the number 1 overall pick, which means watch out for them next year, right? Checking out what went on in the receiving stats. Kenny Stills with 897 and 4 touchdowns. There's Preston Williams, 651, 4 touchdowns. Looks like Tyler Higbee was the top red zone target with 7 scores, 720 yards on 70 catches. So Preston Williams with a very high average per reception. That's good to see for him. All right, here's your graphic for this season. It is the Chiefs losing to the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Preston Williams going into his 4th season now and still going to be the slot receiver here. But I do want to show you one thing. At quarterback, Jawan Newhouse is going to be going into his second season, and he is a freight train X Factor. That's huge for Miami. Even with an X-Factor quarterback, the Dolphins find themselves in the basement and about to get the second overall pick at 3-13, giving up over 400 points and still not scoring 300 points. The Bills win the division again here at 9-7. On the receiving end, Kenny Stills with 998 and 2 scores. Preston Williams with 827 yards and 10 touchdowns. Quite a big red zone threat for the Dolphins this season. Maybe he'll get put on a best receiver list with 10 scores. I don't know about that, though. Nope, nowhere to be found on the best receiver list, so good season, though. Best season of Preston Williams' career so far. Preston Williams going into season 5 is now a 70 overall and the number 2 receiver on this squad. Looking at slot receiver, looks like they want to put Ellis Portis there, and you know what? I guess I'm okay with that. Still in the basement of the AFC East, losing 4 games in a row to go all the way down to 6-10. At least scored over 300 points this year. The Bills continue to dominate, winning this division over and over again. Preston Williams way down on the list here. 473 yards, 1 touchdown as the number 2 receiver. Kenny Stills, 842, and Ellis Portis had a huge year for Miami with 916 and 11 TDs. Now the Dolphins go out and get some receivers that are better than Preston Williams as they get Hakeem Butler and they get Noah Brown on top of Preston Williams here. So Preston Williams will be the 3rd receiver, and we are going to throw him in the slot. Oh, he's already there, so that's perfect. Let's see how he does this year. The Dolphins make the playoffs for the first time in this simulation. They lose their last game of the season, still win the division over the Jets, who won their last game of the season. But as you can see, only 258 points scored, only allowed 331, so I mean, scoring less than they give up is not exactly great. Somehow the Patriots missed out with this great point differential. We'll see how Preston Williams did and what he ends up doing in this playoff game. There we go. In his 6th season, 71 receptions, 924 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He leads the Dolphins by at least 303 yards there, and he leads all Dolphins in scoring touchdowns as far as receiving goes. So let's see what he's able to do in this playoff game. Dolphins' first divisional win since the Tom Brady injury, and they're going to have to host the New York Jets. They are up 7-3 after the first quarter of play. That's good to see, but the Jets will take a lead and the Dolphins take it back, and then the Jets get it back before halftime. It's a 17-14 game. Come on, Preston, get a TD today. It's a 10-point game into the 4th quarter. The Jets may come away with a road upset here. Let's see if it actually happens, and the Jets will win this game by 10 points with a new head coach. Todd Bowles wasn't going to get it done for them. Adam Gase didn't get it done for them, but they're able to win today. Leonard Williams, player of the game. Checking out the receiving for both teams, you can see here that it was Stuart Sanborn with 98 yards, but Preston Williams did get himself a touchdown in the game, 4 catches for 70 and a TD. Just want to see what Jawan Newhouse was able to do. He had a touchdown and an interception. Hasn't been playing like a fantastic X Factor, though. And the Jets end up beating the Dolphins, and they will go on to win the Super Bowl against the LA Rams 34-28. Congratulations, Hobie, with the Super Bowl win. Quick thought here. Canton's new class, Von Miller, Justin Houston, and Bobby Wagner enter the Hall of Fame. I did not know that they added Hall of Fame stuff in here. That's pretty cool, EA. Hey, a step in the right direction. I just wish it was more in your face than having to go into the news to take a look at it. At 8-8, the Miami Dolphins are going to make the playoffs, reeling their way in, but the whole division was reeling on the way at the end of the season. 405 points scored, 432 against. We'll see what that means for Preston. Kendrick Bourne had the most receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, 866, 7 TDs. And there's Preston Williams from the slot, 818, 6 touchdowns for him. So right up there with the best receivers on the team, supposedly. And we'll see what that means in the postseason. Miami with their second home playoff game in a row, this time taking on the Baltimore Ravens, and it is a 7-7 game at the end of one. Miami gets a touchdown, Baltimore with a field goal. Miami scores again. We got a 21-17 halftime game. This is very big for Miami. They give up the lead in the third, but they get it back before the end of the third. This is a high-scoring affair here in this wild card playoff game. Ravens have a score lead, and Miami gets it back, but the Ravens will get it at the end of the game. And huge win for the Ravens on the road here. Disappointment 2 years in a row for Miami. Lamar Jackson, player of the game. Preston Williams once again coming up pretty big for Miami. 4 catches for 66 and a score. He was one of 2 guys to get a score here. Deebo Samuel as well, but couldn't stop Hollywood Brown or Lionel Drew on the day for the Ravens, and that results in an L. Dallas Cowboys over the Cleveland Browns in this year's Super Bowl, and what I'm about to show you will probably be a little bit disappointing, but here we go. So Preston Williams will officially be the 3rd receiver on the team, but he's only a 69 overall now. Going into his 8th year, it could be a little rough here. This might be the beginning of the end for his career. The downfall could be coming. We're going to put him in the slot because he is the 3rd receiver. Let Kendrick Bourne do his thing as the number 1, and we'll see what ends up happening. And the Dolphins once again make the postseason, scoring the most points in the AFC East. However, they did give up the most points. But wow, Sim is so random. They don't even have the real talent on offense to score 401 points, but they won their last 5 games to be able to make the postseason at 9-5-2. They will be a wild card team. The Buffalo Bills win the division yet again. Preston Williams led the way in receiving with 988 yards and 12 scores. Big year for Preston Williams, just ahead of Deebo Samuel and the tight end there, Stuart Sanborn, with 4 TDs for himself. A nice spread there from the QB Newhouse, but Preston Williams with a lot of attention. Let's see what happens in the playoff game. In snowy Buffalo for the wild card game against the division rival Bills, and the Bills get off to a hot start, up 14-3 here in the first quarter. Moving into the second quarter, and it doesn't really get too much better. There we go. A nice tie ball game before the half. Can we really take over here in the third quarter and see some dominance from Miami? No, nothing happening in the third quarter, but Miami has the ball in the fourth, and wow, no points getting scored. Buffalo scores late, Miami scores even later, and we get to overtime. Here we go. Miami does nothing with it. They get it back, and they're going to score a field goal and win this game. Miami has come into Buffalo and gotten the upset, and we're going to see another playoff game here from these Dolphins with the X-Factor quarterback Newhouse. We'll see how well he did as well. Kind of want to look at his statistics. I want to see who the player of the game was, but it doesn't look like they're giving me any. So let's get into the stats then. Newhouse, 30 of 45 for 353. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions. Let's see, Sanborn had 112 yards and a touchdown. This Brian Goss halfback had 107 yards. Where's Preston? Only 2 catches for 21. That's not really what we want to see, but it's a Dolphin win, and we will see him another week. Okay, somehow I pressed advance week, and it automatically advanced past the Browns. That just further shows the Madden 20 bias for the Browns here, as we take an immediately loss without even being able to get into the game and check it out. I figured we would have lost it anyways, but it's a 21-13 win for the Browns in the divisional round. But you know what? Just to be a little more in depth, let's go in here and see what happened in the player stats. Okay, Newhouse, not as good in this one. No touchdowns and a pick for him. And as far as receiving is concerned, Preston Williams, 3 catches for 29, so close to the same of what he had already had. And the Dolphins go down 21-13. So interesting for the Dolphins, Juwan Newhouse was the MVP of the league. So good for him there. Let's take a look. Offensive Player of the Year was Newhouse as well. Best quarterback was not him, though. And best wide receiver, look at that. Preston Williams makes it for the first time ever. He's now a 70 overall again. So maybe he doesn't retire at the end of the year. Bills thought they could be sneaky and take Preston Williams, but we're going to go ahead and get him back. He is a 68 overall. We just gave up a 3rd this year and a 5th next year. So once again, if you guys are kind of new to what we're doing here with the career sims, the object of the career simulation is to keep the player on their originally drafted team to see what that player could do for the franchise if they were able to start through their whole career. So we're keeping Preston Williams with Miami and letting him start every game. And with that being said, picking him up puts him right in the slot, which is exactly where he will find a home. So Preston Williams in the slot once again in what will be his 9th season, as he's 30 years old now. Probably coming near the end at some point here of his career, especially now being a 68 overall. He was a 70 at the end of the last year for the great year that he had. But now it's going to be a consistent downfall, I think. This time Miami doesn't get so lucky, as they do finish with the worst points in the division. They go 7-9. Bills once again taking the AFC East. Preston Williams leads the team in yardage and touchdowns with 867 and 8 scores. So good for him, leading it out of the slot. Preston to his 10th season as a 65 overall. We'll see what he can do in some old age for him. Miami has themselves a good season, and they are going 10-6. They're going to be in the wild card matchup. The Buffalo Bills still winning the division, scoring the most points in the division, winning a 5-game win streak at the end of the year. But Dolphins are in, and we will see them in the wild card round. Let's see how Preston did this year. Preston Williams has one of his best seasons with 64 receptions for 947 and 12 scores. That's the second time he's had 12 scores, tying a career high in a year that he's pretty old. I mean, he's getting up there in age. It's his 10th season already. He's probably like 32 now. But this is a very good season to see from him. Let's see if he made the best receiver list. He did. Second time ever making the best receiver list for Preston Williams. He makes it at 6 this time. Last time he was at 5, so hey, he got up there. Okay, this time wild card game taking place in Indianapolis, where the Colts hold a 3-0 lead after the first quarter. Dolphins get a touchdown in the second. Colts will answer and score again. Dolphins will answer with a field goal, and the Colts get a field goal. So we're at a 20-10 game at halftime. Third quarter going pretty slow. Dolphins get a touchdown. They do not get an extra point, which is strange. Dolphins have the ball here, driving, can't score. Colts don't score either. Nobody really scoring. Dolphins can't get a touchdown at the end of the game, and they will fall here in Indianapolis. They weren't really expected to win, but they're going to fall here to the Colts, 20-16. There's Newhouse, 34 of 51 for 366, 2 touchdowns and a score. This Faulkner guy is a 70 overall, just so you all know. And over here, Ellis Portis had a really strong game for Miami. Preston Williams had one of his best playoff games ever with 5 catches for 57 yards and a score. So he was instrumental for the Dolphins offense today, but it just wasn't enough to come out on top. Preston Williams still going strong here, 11th season in, and he's a 62 overall, so I can't imagine he'll be around too much longer. This could be the final season, but he'll be the slot man this year. Let's see what happens. An okay season for Miami, going 9-7, but not good enough to make the postseason, as the Patriots go 11-5, and the Bills continue to win the division at 11-5 here. Preston Williams falls to third on the receiver list this year. 50 catches, 659, and 8 scores. He was the top red zone target, clearly, but just not a big season for him. Who knows if this was his final year. Looks like Preston Williams is here in free agency as a 59 overall, so maybe we'll get one more season out of him. We're going to sign him back to the Dolphins. He's a star, which is crazy, so let's see if he can do any damage this year. That's really strange. Preston Williams was on our roster as a 59. Now he is gone. And if I look in the NFL, try to look for Williams here, he's not on any roster. And we'll take you guys out to free agency. If I go to receiver, flip it and look for him, there's only a Julius Williams, no Preston Williams. So, strangely enough, he has disappeared. So there will not be a final season of Preston Williams. He is all done here. Interesting. Let me see. Is there any... Does it tell you that he retired or anything? Like, what happened? It doesn't tell you that. Released Dolphins. Can we get that? Would that help us out at all? They've released Preston Williams, but, like, where is the man? He's gone. So, Preston Williams was released by the computer, and he is gone. Sad, sad, sad. Anyways, we are going to show Preston Williams' simulation stats on the screen right now. That is him and what he has done. Not a terrible career by any means, really. Just a typical, I guess, third receiver type career in the NFL. I think his potential is higher than that. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. He's been tearing up preseason, and I look forward, as a Dolphin fan myself, to see what ends up happening with this man's career. But if you did enjoy this video, please go ahead, give it a like. If you are new to the channel, first video you've ever seen, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, as well as clicking the notification bell so you don't miss any more career simulations. We're doing one for every team, and this is only like the 4th one, so there are plenty more to go, as well as other franchise content on this channel. Franchise content all day, every day, here on Franchise Gaming. Thank you guys very much, and I will see you all on the next video. Take care.
You're a pretty little star boy.